How long do those phytonutrients last?
About 48 hours.
48
It depends on the temperature, and there's all sorts of things, the type of plant, but about 48 hours. Basically, once the plant is in its wilting stage, it's basically dying.
Got it.
So the nutrients, and it's dying because it hasn't got live access to the live nutrients. They're not being moved up and down the plant through the xylem, the tubes that keep the plant alive. You've basically chopped it. It's like your arm, you know, you can amputate a part of a body and then sew it back on again.
Yeah, I've done that a couple of times.
Yeah, you leave it 48 hours, you're not going to be sewing that finger back on.
Yeah.
You know.
So I was just sort of like asking that question on behalf of the restaurant piece, because obviously the biggest challenge from the mushrooms was that last mile and getting it to the restaurants and everything along those lines.
But you can deliver the tray to the restaurant, so you can deliver the living tray, and they can cut it. Yeah. So when they're delivering it to their customers, they can say to their customers, this is still alive. Yeah. They can. You can educate them and tell them, because some of them don't know. A lot of these chefs, they know what is good food, they know about flavours, but they don't always know the science behind it. And it's not a lot of science. It's just, this is alive. Yeah. Live food is good for you. When it comes to vegetables, dead vegetables are not good for you because they're rotting. If they're dying, the bacteria start. You know, the bacteria, necrophilic bacteria that eat dead matter are starting to work on it. Yeah. That's not what you want to be consuming. You want to be consuming live, vibrant, with food that is energy and life-giving. And that's what they can give to their customers.
That's right.
And if they're buying it from a wholesaler and it's been sitting in a fridge for 2 weeks, you know,
well, where's it come from?
Exactly. Yeah,
where's it come from?
What have they sprayed on it? What have they sprayed on it? What chemicals are on it? Yeah. What is it? What, you know? It might look live, but it isn't, which is why that stuff, as soon as you take it out of the fridge, it wilts within minutes. Because it's dead. Yeah. It might look alive, but it's actually dead. So even if they eat it, they're not getting the nutrients. And what you'll tend to find is that people who start to consume, particularly microgreens, what you'll find is if you've got a decent sized portion of microgreens on your dinner plate, within a couple of days, the volume of food that you need to eat reduces significantly.
Yeah. Why is that?
Because you're getting the nutrients. The reason people, if you think about obesity.
So a craving piece, are you talking about? So it's your natural body going, I need that.
Yeah, what your body, so for example, there might be, you might need, right now, you might be lacking boron or molybdenum or one of these trace elements. Or some phytonutrient that I can't pronounce the name, right? Your brain knows you need it. Yeah. It goes, if we don't get this quick in the next week or so, we're going to start to get ill. So your brain only knows how to, it doesn't know how to tell you to go and find boron, but it knows how to make you hungry. So it sends, and it's not just your brain, it's the microorganisms in your gut that are going, we're hungry, we need food, we need this mineral to keep alive. So they send a signal up to the brain. The brain goes, let's tell Scotty I'm hungry. So Scotty goes out, and in the old days, you'd either go out hunting or you'd go out browsing in a bush for whatever you could get, and you would eat whatever you came across. And back in the day, it would have been alive, or you'd have killed it, and it would have recently been alive, and you wouldn't have had any way to store it, so you'd have eaten it fresh. Yeah. And you would have got your nutrients, and you'd have been fine. Whereas now, what we do is we feel hungry, so we go to the store, we buy something wrapped up in plastic that was made, covered in chemicals and poisons. It was packaged probably a year and a half ago. It's completely dead, and all it has got is the carbohydrates, the salts and the sugars, plus a load of preservatives. You swallow it, the preservatives in it that keep it from rotting, then go into your body, and those preservatives, what is their job? Their job is to kill bacteria. So you're now consuming a dose of chemicals that are designed to kill bacteria, and they do a good job because you're not getting E. coli from eating that food. Yeah. But what they're doing is they're going into your stomach and killing your microbiota. And that is, that is one of the things that people don't realise. And at the same time, you're not getting your boron or molybdenum that you needed in the first place. So you eat the meal, and your brain goes, I'm still hungry. So what do? You go and buy some more. And you eat some more of empty carbohydrates. And that's why you walk around countries like America and UK, and you see so many people who are suffering from the symptom we see is obesity. But the obesity is a symptom of malnutrition. So it's not that they've got so much food that they're overweight. It's because they're in a cycle of eating empty carbohydrates. The body converts carbohydrates to sugar. And if you've got enough sugar, as in base energy, for them, basically in each cell you have a thing called mitochondria that basically effectively is the engine of the cell. Well, if that's got enough sugar to do its job, the cell then goes, oh, I don't need any more sugar, so it doesn't let the sugar into the cell. So you get insulin, and then you get this problem with insulin resistance. So the body then says, well, what can I do with the sugar? I'll convert it to fat. And that's what happens. And you go round and round and round that cycle, and people get fatter and fatter and fatter. And often it's because of an upset in their microbiome, which is caused by the biology of the food that they're eating.
Yeah.
And it's a cycle that people don't know. They just don't have the knowledge that they only have to eat a little bit of fresh, natural food. It's covered in bacteria.
Yeah.
And it's not got the biocides on it to stop that bacteria keeping you healthy.
So it's really kind of interesting, isn't it? Because of like, we're setting up this farm business, and our biggest challenge is this last mile.
Yeah.
Getting this fresh produce to the people. So, you know, that's our problem to solve, and hopefully we'll, you know, explore multiple different strategies and tactics and share it with everybody.
But that's what a plate of live microgreens does, doesn't it?
And the audience actually really need what we're producing.
Yeah. Which a massive industrial farm is definitely not producing. They even terminate the production of, sorry, I'm just on this rant, but they...
No!
I've said it before, but they terminate, they use glyphosate.
Yes.
Yeah, you've heard of it, Roundup. They use it to terminate wheat and barley and cereal crops. So what that means is they spray a herbicide on 3 or 4 days onto the crop before they harvest it. And that herbicide desiccates the crop, actually makes it drier, kills it off. There's a thing called, you can look it up, it's called a shikimate pathway. It's a weird thing, but it's bacteria and plants have it in their physiology, humans don't. So the argument is glyphosate is not bad for humans because we don't have that enzymatic pathway in our system. But we are a symbiotic organism and we're full of bacteria and fungi that do our digestion for us. So if you then swallow food that contains glyphosate, because it's been sprayed on just before harvest, and it's gone on that lovely barley that is used in the beer that you're then drinking, or on that cereal, cornflakes that was non-organic, so it's covered in glyphosate, you're absorbing this. Now glyphosate, you've probably heard of it, it was developed as an antibiotic. That's what it was originally. And then it got converted to a herbicide. They found that it also had herbicide effects, and that became its big use. So they're spraying antibiotics on these fields wholesale throughout the year to clear fields, to kill weeds, but they're poisoning. That's why the soils are dead, because they're covered with biotic life.